My name is all right. Recording in progress. So yeah, okay. So hey everyone, my name is Jack Richanalysith. And welcome to STC. This is transfer workshop. So let's see. Yeah. So a little background about myself is that I'm the IP VPA of Circle K at SFSU, San Francisco State, and I'm also served as the professional development coordinator of the MD&E committee for the district. So yeah. So for this workshop, I'm going to be talking about mainly what it's like to be a transfer student, and at the end or anything, we can talk about what it takes to transfer and things like that. So yeah, go. So first of all, congratulations on furthering your education. All right. So a lot of people talk about like, oh, like certain colleges are better than others, and things like that. But the fact that you're deciding to like go to college at all is such an amazing accomplishment that not everyone can do, and you should be proud of what you're doing. So I just want to clarify that whatever you decide to do with your education is great. Everyone has a different path, and so you should always feel proud about what you're trying to do. So yeah, with that being said, all colleges are different but similar. It's often said that for my path, I went to community college, so they said that you can take all your GEs, your general education at community college, and then transfer over, and you'll get the same exact education there for like a quarter of the price or even less. So most colleges, they offer similar classes in terms of general education, but the main reason why people want to transfer is either because it's a different learning environment or specific programs that different colleges offer. So yeah. So yeah, things with everything going on in the world due to COVID, things are currently kind of different due to online school, but there are also things you can look forward to the college experience, even when you're online. And so, yeah, what you want to do as a transfer student is, even though this might not be your exact first year of college, this would be a great time for you to maybe treat this as a whole new beginning and treat this as your first year at a new school, as your first year in general. Start new, meet new people, reinvent yourself, your personality, things like that. All right, next. Next thing you should know is that different people have different reasons for transferring. So like I said, everyone has their own reasons for choosing the school they go to. Some people I know choose their school for specific programs and with their major or degree. So yeah, each different school may have like a similar type of program like the UCs or CSUs in terms of like their major, but it is up to you to do your research on what type of programs each school has and whether or not those are a great fit for you specifically. Another reason, a huge reason why people like even decide to go to certain colleges is just the whole environment that they're in. So different environments, such as like a big city versus a small town, can be like a deal breaker for people when deciding to choose what college they go to. And that in itself can really affect how you either learn in school and like how you want to live your life in general. I guess for me personally, I'm from like a smaller area, like Fairfield, California. Yeah. So it's kind of like a quieter area. And personally, I wanted to go to like a bigger like city, urban area for school, just so I could, focus on my education while exploring a more urban area. And so I thought SFState was a great fit for me. But that's not the only reason I chose the school. And so we'll talk about more reasons for choosing your school. And so another reason why people choose their school is that they may either want to stay close to their family or go like further away from their family just to like experience some type of independence. And so that's up to you. If you're very family oriented, or maybe you're not so much, that could be like a common factor in deciding what school you go to. And so let's see, when you're at a different school, people tend to choose to surround themselves with specific things for their own reasons. And so let's say you never had fun in school, right? Because you're always focused on academics purely, and you never got to experience that too much freedom in your life, whether it be because of school or other reasons. College or transferring to another school in general is a great time to maybe reinvent yourself and try new things. And so when you're actually at this new school, you should try to focus either, the things you haven't done before or things you really want to improve on that you were doing before. And that's, yeah. So trying to focus more on school and college than in high school. I guess for me personally, I was more of a chill person in high school, and I always saw the importance of school, but I never really like, I didn't like studying and stuff like that. So I wanted to change that when I transferred. And so when I transferred to a new school, I saw it as a new beginning for me to pick up new habits, new studying habits, and new healthier habits like exercising and working out. So yeah, like I said, personally, I wanted to transfer to a bigger school in a bigger area and do new things. So everyone has their different reasons for transferring. Just keep that in mind. All right. And here's some more things to keep in mind is before you even transfer to school, you have to do your research on the school you're looking at. So let's say you're at the school you're at right now, whether it be community college or another university, things like that. If you're thinking about transferring, you have to think about all the classes you've taken before just and see if they are able to transfer over to a new school. Because some programs at different schools require different classes, basically. For example, when I was at community college, I had to take certain sociology classes for my communication major just for a chance to transfer to like 2 schools out of the 10 I was interested in. So I was dedicating a whole like part of my week just for one class for 2 schools out of us like schools I might not even get into. So you have to think about if all the work you've done so far is able to be transferred over to a different school and whether or not you're willing to do even more work just for a chance to go to a different school. Next is you have to understand that different schools have different cultures. And different cultures, by that I mean different working cultures, different like party cultures, stuff like that, and social things in general. For some schools, it might be a more reserved, like study-based school where there's not a lot of social events. And so where the majority of the people at the school mainly just keep to themselves and things like that. While some other schools may have students that are much more extroverted with their social lives and maybe less so on the studying side. And other schools may have a little bit of both, and you have to keep in mind about what you're getting yourself into. So when you're thinking about going to a different school, you either want to think about, would you fit in with that certain type of culture? And yeah, because if not, you might have to think about whether you're willing to change yourself to fit in with people around you, or you want to stay true to yourself and just kind of stay the same way you are right now. So yeah. Next is the idea of living somewhere different. So a new school equals a new city, and that may be, a whole different experience for you depending on where you are from. So yeah. So the things you should know once you get into a new area of living is you gotta know where all the essentials are, all your grocery stores, all your things like that, where you want to go to study, where you want to go out for food, hang out with friends, things like that. Because you have to understand that although you are going to a new school, you are not just going to be living in the classrooms all day, all night. You're probably going to be like, living in your room, wherever you live. You want to go out and have some fun with your friends. And all of that is just part of the college experience. And so you have to think about where you can go safely, who you can depend on, things like that. And so finding the right roommates and the right friends at your school is very important. So finding roommates, you can find that in a variety of ways, whether it be through social media, moving in with people you know, that nature, and just asking people around the campus to see if they want to move in. I know most schools have like a roommate finding program to when you're applying for housing, so you could look for that too. And like I said before, you want to treat everything as like a new beginning when you're transferring. So yeah, if you're at a new school, you want to try different things. Try like different hobbies you never thought about doing before, pursuing different passions, talking to different people you never thought about trying to talk to before, maybe traveling to different places where you've never seen before when you have time, things like that. That is all part of like the fun part of the college experience, which can be the same as education and academics, but yeah. And something really important to keep in mind, whether with whatever school you go to or like being in whatever you're doing, is just finding a community that you can depend on. Friends and connections are really, really important to have. Um, yeah, so I think we all have those days where like we all feel alone and like there's nothing to do besides study and just talk to ourselves. It's really important to be able to know how to like go out there and socialize, do things you haven't like done before. You might make some friends that you never would have otherwise made before. So yeah. Next is I'm talking about why you might want to transfer in an online environment. So yeah, COVID-19 was really unexpected. No one saw it coming, and I know that um, were very, very hesitant on going to college or transferring to college in general because everyone knew that we're all just going to be on Zoom all the time, and so everyone was afraid of like getting a compromised college experience. And although that may be true to some degree, there are a few different reasons you can look forward to when trying to transfer in an online environment. And that is up to you about what you want to do with your college experience. Because although you may not be like on a college campus or anything like that, you're still able to go to classrooms, go to office hours, meet different people in the class. Um, a bunch of student organizations have been able to successfully transfer online. For example, Circle K, we're doing things like this all the time. So it is all up to you on how you want to like what you want to look for out of the college experience online because like I said, no one expected this. So everyone is trying to find a way to transition to an online based experience. But with that being said, if you are iffy on the situation about changing schools, you should really think about whether you want to just stay in the location you are, or maybe just stay at the community college or go to community college. Because since everything is online, a common appeal of community college is that it is much cheaper than compared to like traditional four-year colleges. And since you are going to be on Zoom all the time anyway, that is usually an appealing option. But it will, yeah, deciding to stay at your current school or community college, it comes with its own like pros and cons. A pro is that you are getting like you may be getting the same experience as you would normally, but a con is that you are less likely to meet people in person and things of that nature, depending on like if people want to turn the camera on. So you may not get that face-to-face interaction that you would want from a college experience. But a huge pro with being an online school is that you can be very flexible with your education. So by that I mean you can do whatever you can do. You can do things that you could do now that you can't do in person. For example, that I have some friends that they go to school in California, but well, their school is in California, but they're currently living in New York or different states. They're able to live with their family in different states or just travel while they're in school because the absence of an in-person classroom allows that. Also, you're able to pick up a part-time job in the city you're in school of, and you can stay at home, just work on your class there. You don't have to worry about commuting to a school so far away, but you can just stay in the comfort of your own home and do your work like that. So yeah. All right, now we're going to get into some expectation versus reality as a transfer student. So yeah, this is coming with the I'm assuming that you're like either going to a community college or you're going to a current college where you're already kind of living at. So okay, so expectation number one is that commuting will be just as easy as it is at community college. Usually community college is like, because it's such a commuter school, it is within driving distance of many people's homes. And yeah, for me personally, driving to community college was a 15-minute drive. It was like the same length as me driving to like high school. And so it didn't really feel different to me. Where the reality of that situation is that community can be really easy or really hard depending on your location. So it'll have to do, if you're thinking about moving out to a different school in a different city, you have to think about where you're living and the commute it'll take for you to get from your home to your classroom. for me, when I was going to school in San Francisco State, I lived about a 10-minute walk from school. That's like the closest I've ever lived from school. And so also with like living in SF, there's a bunch of public transportation to get around the city wherever I want. And so I was never really worried about transportation. However, some people I know, even though they went to SF State, a commute for them was still, like about either 20 to 30 minutes long because they were taking BART or the Muni just to get to school. And so that is entirely up to you and what you're able to afford in terms of like living, how close to the school you can do. And so you just never know. So you have to like research on what you can do with your given situation. All right, next is money is easy to manage. That's the expectation coming from someone who went to community college where the semester tuition was about less than $1,000. And in reality, university life is just much more expensive in general compared to, say, community college, or it might be just the same depending on if you're transferring from one college to another. But community college, like I said, $700 a semester sounds really, really cheap to me now, considering I go to school in San Francisco, and yeah, tuition is nearly like 3 times that much. And so because you're paying much more money than you're used to before, you'll start to feel your wallet hurt a lot of the time. So it is really important to practice like good money management when you're younger, before you transfer, or whether or not you decide to get a job and grow up in the real world. So you'll have to learn how to manage your money safely when you can. Another expectation is you have to start all over making friends and connections. In reality, if you were really close with someone back then, chances are they're going to be okay with you now. So it's very unlikely that you'll have to like start completely over with your friend group, unless literally none of like your friends from your one school transfer over to a different school. But with that being said, it sounds kind of scary, but actually, like I said before, it is a time for you to reinvent yourself if you want to. So you might be able to join different organizations, meet different people in your classes, and you'll make new friends that way. So yeah. And I think as we get older, we'll meet more people that are more like us than we met in the past. Because you'll meet people in your classes, in your major classes, in your different organizations and internships. They're doing the same thing as you, so they'll be more like you. Next is that this expectation is that student life is always exciting at universities. In the reality, it's just different. It's just different for every school. You never know. For some schools, it is like a commuter school where people just come and go to classes where they don't have time to stay at their school because they have to go home because they don't want to hit traffic. Other schools where like students live on campus all the time, they might have a more active student life and they'll be more active in their organizations. So it really is just different, and it is up to you to research what the culture is like at your school. And next is that student advisors will be your close friend whenever choosing classes and talking about your major. And it just, in reality, it actually depends on what school you go to. And I'm sorry, I keep saying it depends, but it really just does, it depends. So I guess for me personally, community college, advisors are really set on helping you transfer out to a different school so they can like, make room to like bring in new students and stuff like that. And at community college, yeah, we have different people going to school basically. What I mean by that is that whether it be someone straight out of high school or someone who hasn't gone to school in over 20 years coming to go to school for the first time, student counselors at community colleges have to be more willing to like explain different things to different people. Whereas at traditional four-year colleges and universities, they're probably already talking to people who know what they're doing, and so therefore they're more straight to the point in terms of like in terms of what they want to tell you, what you want to do with your degree. And yeah, so that doesn't mean they're less helpful. That just means you have to be more direct and specific in what you want from them. Otherwise, they might just assume you already know everything. So be careful about that. All right, next I'm going to talk about different resources to utilize. So you might have already like heard different things like this at your own school, but after going to a new school, you might want to check these out because different schools do different things. So yeah, the resources may be different. Number one are your career counselors. If you're ever unsure about what you want to do with your career, or you have questions about your classes and things of that nature, it is extremely important to talk to a counselor to make sure you're on the right track. Because you can never be too safe. Some people might get like surprised when they have to take like another semester because they didn't see a class they had to take. Don't let that happen to you. So next is specific transfer groups, organizations, or extracurricular teams. So when you transfer to your new school, it's very likely that after your new student orientation, they'll redirect you to certain transfer groups and clubs that you can like meet people and like talk about being a transfer student with. That is there for anyone that is interested in it. You don't have to usually, but if you are interested, be sure to like hit people up in that organization. Next is organizations related to your major. So depending on the school you went to before, they might not have the same organizations at a new school. So it is important to see whether or not different organizations at this new school are able to help you in your major. I guess for me, I didn't really have any student organizations at my community college. I didn't have Circle K. I didn't have any volunteering clubs. I didn't have any like fraternities to join. I had almost like nothing, to be honest. So when I transferred over to school, I was able to explore more of my interests with the different organizations there. And I'm really happy for that. Next is the tutoring center. Different schools have different types of tutoring available. Also, you want to talk to your different professors, and there's teachers, they're TAs basically. And so, yeah, you want to make use of them when you can. Next are career fairs, the fun stuff. Yeah, I think most colleges do this, but different companies and different organizations are maybe local to different areas. So just because you've been to a career fair before doesn't mean that you should like just never like bother going to a different one again, because different companies may come to different schools, and so it is very much worth it to go to see any thing you're interested in, to see if they'll give you an internship or a job offer, things like that. Next is a welcome week. Be sure don't sleep on welcome week. I know everyone just sees it as like, oh, this is a new student thing, but welcome week could be very helpful to new people, whether it be giving school tours, different giving you different tips on how to like survive the school, or different resources outside of the actual school that you can go to when you need, things of that nature. Never want to sleep on welcome week. So yeah. Next is student success centers. This might be called something different at whatever school you go to, but success centers are basically places you can go to study and get help from different students, and we just help each other out. And those centers are basically, their purpose is to help you stay on track to graduate. Next is financial aid. This is different for every person, but you want to make sure that you're getting your right financial aid. It'll help you pay for your dorming, your housing, things of that nature, your meal plans. Make sure you stay on top of that. Next is your health centers. If you ever get injured on campus, or if you're ever feeling sick, it's very important to like know where your health center is or your nurse's office, just to be sure you don't get too sick or too injured, because you never know when you're gonna need it. Next is their Discord. It might be very likely that your school has a Discord, and basically, if you don't know what Discord is basically an online like channel-based social media thing that people can join. It's a lot like Slack, where people can join different channels based on what organization they're in or school, and they're able to interact with different students of the same school or club and talk about whatever it may be. And next is LinkedIn or Handshake. All right, so if you are a transfer student or you're thinking about it, I'm assuming you're more on the upperclassmen side, or gonna to be, or soon to be upperclassmen. And so it is important to think about, I guess, what you want to do after graduation. And LinkedIn and Handshake are great job seeking sites to where you can build a profile, and you'll be able to network with other professionals that you're interested in working with, and other recruiters can see different things you're doing. You're basically building an online resume on these sites, and different people can see what you're doing. And so, yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say in general. So I guess if you have any questions, comments, or concerns you want to give me about the transferring process or what it's like being a transfer student in general, I am ready to answer any questions. So if you want to answer a question or ask a question, please, I think you can raise your hand, right? And I can call on you from there. So yeah.
Take advantage of like the Zoom functions, or if not, prefer just like call out. Yeah, like the space is for y'all to learn.
You can also use the chat if you want.
Yeah, anything works.
I have a
Transferring is fun,
question.
guys. Oh yeah.
So you know how you said you went from a CC to like a CSU? Was like
Yeah.
the curriculum / like pace different? And if so, how did you adjust?
Is the curriculum different? Personally, the community college I went to was a semester-based school, and then I transferred to SF State, which is a semester-based school. So the pace wasn't really any different for me personally. As for the curriculum, I personally didn't feel like I was like overly like I didn't feel any like surprises in my major. I felt very prepared in like what I was doing, but yeah, I think that's just something to think about in general. When you're transferring, you're going to go straight into your upper division classes. So yeah, I personally didn't feel any difference in the curriculum pace, things of that nature, but I like my major. So yeah, I'm prepared usually.
I'm happy to hear that for you, that you love your major. Thank you for answering.
Thank you. Thanks for asking. Anything about the process or anything like that? Tips on apps? Yeah, okay. Let's see. So like I said, it depends on the school you're trying to apply to. But in terms of like tips for applications, for building your application, first of all, make sure to do good in your classes. Grades they really do matter when you're transferring. There's a common phrase that C's get degrees, but when you're trying to apply to a new school and transfer over, you would like to like have the most competitive application possible. So you would like to at least make sure that you have the highest grades possible. And depending on the school you go to, it's similar to applying to like college for the first time. But you have to look very specifically what that college has for the requirements for your major. So, because I know, like I said before, for two of my schools I was interested in, I had to take one class for them just for those two schools. And so we have to look very specifically about what classes you have to take. Otherwise, your entire graduation day may be kind of like messed up because you just forgot one class because you missed like one little detail on reading the transfer requirements. So basically to read the directions very carefully, otherwise it'll be kind of sad. As for that, you just gotta get lucky, I guess, or it's just how it is for school. Does anyone else have any other tips that they have? They want to share? Calc 1C because of one school, yeah, it hurts. You're doing it all for one school. But if you really like a school, I'd say go for it. It's worth it. Let's see. Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess another tip, a general tip I have is that mind deadlines very carefully. Otherwise, if you miss the deadlines, it's bad too. Let's see. I guess for essays, if you're applying to school and that requires an essays, I would really recommend have it reviewed by 1 or 2 people at maximum. Because if you let like 20 people view your essay, you're gonna get 20 different opinions that are very, very different. And something that's important when writing an application essay is to make sure that you're writing with your voice, because it's your application and they want to read your essay. So I think feedback is really good to have from different people, but if you're having too much feedback to where like you're changing it to be completely different to what it was originally, then at that point it's not even your essay and it's not even your voice, and so it might not even feel right to you. So if you choose to get your application essays peer reviewed, I would recommend choosing less than 3 people to review their essay. That way you can like at least make sure that it's similar to your original vision. As for tips, I would like to give a tip to make sure that you're giving a good image with your essay. I think you want to make the reader feel like gross or like bad about your prompt, but be honest too. Be really honest. Don't lie. It's bad. Oh, wait. We got time, right? Hmm.
Can I add on to Jack's advice? So earlier, Jack was mentioning about how y'all should have like at least a few people read your essays, considering if your like transfer school does require it. I say that and then with us being Circle K, I say take advantage of like reach out to like members of each school that you plan on going to. Like I saw some of y'all planning to go to UCI or Fullerton. Like feel free to reach out to the members and ask them like, oh, like how was the process? If they could send theirs as an example, I feel like that's really like helpful. And yeah. And we do have like a few minutes left, so like feel free to take advantage of this time. And if Jack, you want to like drop your social media account so that people can reach out to you, that'd be nice too.
Yeah, of course. On Facebook, my name is just my name, but my Instagram is my name. So you can ask me anything. I'll follow back. Don't worry.
And like expanding from like just transferring, like if y'all want to drop your social medias too, just so like y'all can like interact, network with each other, like
Yeah.
that'd be nice. Yeah. I know Nick has like an amazing portfolio if y'all want to check it out. But yeah.
Wow.
Like, there's different ways to like interact.
Yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me
I have a question for like the rest of the room. I see that a lot of you are interested in like SoCal schools. How come y'all haven't showed interest in like NorCal schools?
Yeah, what's wrong with NorCal?
Yeah, what's wrong with UC Davis?
What's wrong with SF State?
Oh, NorCal's too close to home. Oh.
That makes sense.
Wait, Amanda, where are you originally from?
I live in Campbell, which is like San Jose-ish area.
Oh, I see.
So schools like Berkeley and UC Davis are only like a couple hours away, while SoCal's like 6-7 hours away, so I can go a lot farther away from home.
If you want to go out of state, Nick is your person.
But I am applying to Davis as well, so I'm in Davis.
Yes.
Good luck.
I'm rooting for you. Yeah. And Daniel, you don't want to go far away from home or what?
Well, I did apply originally to like Boston, So I did apply out of state. And I think when I realized it, because I'm a music major, and I realized that Los Angeles is a big networking scene for music. So I was like, Fullerton is like 30 minutes away, so it's not too far away from home, and it's not too inwards to LA. So I was like, I think it's like the right area.
Yes. Do you want to really like debrief everyone on how you did out of state application, Nick?
It was a long time ago. I don't even know if I remember. Yeah, so I mean, originally I'm from Washington State. That's where I grew up. And I applied to University of Washington and then some schools in California, including Cal Poly, obviously. Yeah, I mean, I did come visit Cal Poly and a few other schools before I applied to them. So that was good. It gave me like an idea of kind of what the school's vibes were a little bit, even though it was during the summer when they were empty, but it still gave me kind of a sense of how they looked, how they felt.
I see.
So if you can, I highly suggest doing that. And for applications, they seem pretty similar to in-state. Yeah, I don't know.
I remember for some of y'all, like I wanted to go like far away from home too. I'm originally from Central Valley, and I actually considered like Hawaii, but then due to like the application like process, I was like, just kidding. And also like the financial aspect. So there's just like a lot of factors. But, yeah. Like Jack, when you were transferring, did you care about how far you went or no? Like away from home?
I personally would like to stay in California, but outside of that, I'm down to go anywhere personally. So
Let's see.
yeah, sign in, guys, if you haven't already.
Feel free to leave a compliment for Jack or any improvements you can make so that if you ever plans on hosting another transfer workshop before he graduates, then that'd be helpful.
I appreciate everything.
And then for those who like still want to stay in this room, the workshop that will be hosted is member engagement and involvement by Xavier. But yeah.
I love Xavier. He's cool.
Oh, you met Xavier like personally?
I work with him with MD&E.
Oh wow, I see. I feel like VPA is a very popular position here, by the way. I think half of y'all said that y'all are VPAs currently or like past.
VPA saying make my VP day. Oh, I tried.
Also, welcome, Dave.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, Jack, for the workshop. It was really like impactful.